Studies show that most engine damage happens before you even hit the road. A single driving habit can shorten your clutch life by half. Brake systems fail from something 90% of drivers do wrong. These aren't big accidents or obvious problems. They're tiny mistakes repeated thousands of times. Most drivers don't realize the damage until they get a massive repair bill. For example, many people don't realize how much damage they're doing to their car just by the way they drive it every day. The worst part? It starts with the engine, the most expensive part to replace. And most of the damage happens before you even hit the road properly. Think about those cold mornings in Europe. The temperature drops. You rush out, start your car and tap the throttle a few times to warm it up. It feels harmless, but inside the engine, the oil hasn't even reached all of the parts yet. Metal rubs against metal with barely any protection. That quick rev might feel good, but it's actually tearing into your engine's life. Studies show that most engine wear happens in those first few minutes after a cold start. If you rev during that time, you're speeding up that wear by a lot. The better move? Just start your car and drive off slowly. Keep the RPMs low. Let the oil circulate properly. Give it a few minutes before asking for any real power. Your engine will thank you every time. But revs aren't the only silent killer. Over-revving is another. A lot of drivers love to push the car hard. Floor it at green lights, redline every gear. It sounds fun, feels powerful, but doing it daily is like sprinting full speed with no warm-up, over and over again. It stresses the engine, it heats up things too much. It pushes the piston rings, bearings and valve trains to their limit, and even though your car might not explode right away, this constant abuse chips away at the engine slowly. You'll burn more fuel too. Instead, shift earlier, cruise in the mid-range. It's smoother, and your car will last far longer. Then there's the issue of fuel. Not all petrol is the same. If your car was designed for high-octane fuel, and you fill it with the cheap low-grade stuff, you're inviting engine knock. That's when combustion happens at the wrong time, and it's brutal for your engine. It's like little explosions hitting the wrong spots. Do this enough, and your engine won't just wear out, it might break down for good. Even cheap fuel without enough cleaning agents can build up carbon deposits in the engine. These clog fuel injectors, block intake valves and mess with combustion. Over tens of thousands of kilometers, those deposits mix with the oil, reduce efficiency and cause more wear. Suddenly, your car feels sluggish, fuel economy drops, repairs add up. That extra 10 or 20 cents per liter for good fuel? It's nothing compared to the cost of replacing injectors or rebuilding a damaged engine. Always go with what the manufacturer recommends, or better, and stick to trusted fuel stations. Quality fuel has additives that clean the system as you drive. Apart from the engine, clutch and gearbox problems are the next most expensive issues car owners face in Europe. A lot of the time, they're caused by nothing more than bad habits behind the wheel. Manual cars are still very common across Europe, and the clutch is one of the first things to wear out. Even in automatics or semi-automatics, poor shifting can slowly destroy parts deep inside the gearbox. Replacing or repairing these systems doesn't come cheap. Labor and parts can easily run into the thousands, but many drivers don't even realize they're doing damage until it's too late. Take riding the clutch, for example. This happens when you keep your foot on the clutch pedal when you don't need to. Maybe you're just resting your foot there while driving, or maybe you're not letting the pedal up fully after changing gear. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is. What you're doing is making the clutch disc rub constantly against the flywheel. That creates heat and causes the disc to wear down quickly. You'll soon notice your car revving without picking any speed. That's clutch slip, a sign your clutch is already failing. And when that happens, you're looking at a replacement job that can cost well over €1,000. The worst part? Worn clutches are classed as wear and tear, so most warranties won't cover them. Avoiding this is simple. Once you're done shifting, move your foot completely off the pedal. Use the footrest to the left, if your car has one. In stop-start traffic, don't creep forward using half clutch. Instead, keep a bit of space and move in short bursts using first gear. This prevents that slow, painful clutch wear that kills your transmission bit by bit. Another common killer is bad gear shifting technique. Some drivers have a habit of resting their hand on the gearstick between changes. It feels harmless, but it's not. The gear lever is linked to a selector fork inside the transmission. Even a little pressure from your hand can wear out the fork and internal gears over time. That's one of those small habits that can lead to a big repair bill later. After you change gear, get your hand off the stick and back on the wheel. It's better for the car and safer for you. Then there's the problem of using the wrong gear at the wrong time. Accelerating in high gear when your RPMs are low, this is called lugging the engine. It causes shuddering, slow response, and puts huge strain on the engine mounts and bearings. It's just as harmful as redlining the engine. If you press the pedal and the car barely reacts or starts shaking, that's your sign to downshift. Get the engine back into a healthy rev range. On the flip side, don't drop a low gear suddenly without matching the engine speed. That kind of rough downshifting creates a big jolt and wears out the clutch. You want smooth, clean shifts every time, nothing rushed or forced. Hills are another danger zone. A lot of drivers use the clutch to hold the car on an incline, balancing it with the throttle instead of using the handbrake. That might feel like a smart move in traffic, but it's one of the fastest ways to destroy your clutch. All that slipping generates serious heat and burns the friction plate. If you do this often, your clutch might not even last half as long as it should. The right way? Use the parking brake to hold the car, then release it as you start moving. That's actually required in many European driving tests. Newer cars sometimes have hill start assist that holds the brakes for a few seconds, but if your car doesn't, the handbrake is your best friend. Moreover, every time you hit a pothole or fly over a speed bump without slowing down, you're slowly wrecking your car. It might not seem like much at first, just a quick jolt or thump, but the damage adds up. In fact, 1/3 of all vehicle damage comes from potholes alone. That's not a small number. It's not just your tires taking the hit. Your suspension, wheels, and even the alignment are suffering silently. Potholes are like silent traps. Hit one hard enough, and you could bend your rims, burst a tire, or mess up your alignment completely. Sometimes it even wrecks parts of the suspension, like the control arms or shock absorbers. All of this starts with one mistake: driving too fast into something your car isn't meant to handle. Hitting a pothole at 60 km/h is a whole different story than hitting at 30. And here's the thing, braking during impact makes it worse. The tire absorbs more if it's still rolling, but if it's locked up, the full force goes straight into the wheel and suspension. But it's not just potholes doing the damage. Many drivers casually bump into curbs while parking or turning too tightly. Every little bump knocks the wheel slightly out of alignment or scrapes the sidewalls of your tires. And every misalignment means uneven tire wear or poor handling, and a shorter lifespan for your tires. The cost of alignment is nothing compared to buying a new set of tires months before you should have had to. Speed bumps can be just as brutal. They're not meant to be taken at full speed. If the sign says 20 or 30 km/h, it's for a reason. Fly over one too fast, and you might snap a suspension spring or bang the underside so hard that the exhaust gets dislodged. These aren't small issues. A dented exhaust or broken spring can cost hundreds, if not more, to put right. Even if you avoid all that, alignment issues can sneak up on you. After a rough hit, pothole, curb, or bump, watch how your car behaves. Does the steering pull? Do you feel vibrations? That's your car telling you something is off. And if you ignore it, your tires will wear out unevenly and fast. It'll also put extra pressure on your steering system, which means more parts wearing out before their time. An alignment check is cheap. Replacing 2 ruined tires and suspension parts? Not so much. Then there's the way you brake. A lot of people have no idea how much money they're wasting every time they slam on the brakes at the last second. Hard braking isn't just about the wear, it's about the heat. Brake pads wear down faster, discs overheat, and you risk warping them. If you hear squealing or feel shaking in the steering wheel when braking, that's not normal, it's the sound of damage. But if you ignore it, you're heading straight for a full brake replacement, and that costs far more than a simple pad change. Late braking also wastes fuel. You're speeding up just to burn it all away in heat. A smarter way to drive is to anticipate. Lift your foot early, let the car coast a bit, and brake gently. It saves your brakes, your fuel, and your money. Another common habit is riding the brakes, especially downhill. This is a killer for your braking system. Light pressure over time keeps the brakes engaged, builds up heat, and can lead to brake fade, where your brakes stop working properly. In extreme cases, the brake fluid can even boil. Instead of dragging the brakes, shift to a lower gear and use engine braking. Then apply the brakes firmly in short bursts and let them cool in between. That keeps them working and avoids overheating. In automatics, people also tend to rest their left foot lightly on the brake pedal without realizing it. Even that small pressure causes the pads to rub constantly. That means constant friction, constant wear, and another set of pads down the drain before their time. Finally, don't ignore the warning signs. If the brakes squeal or a dashboard light comes on, check it. A lot of modern pads have built-in sensors for a reason. Drive past that point, and it's not just the pads you'll need to replace, it's the discs too. Sometimes even the calipers. What could have been a €100 fix turns into a €600 nightmare. Another common mistake is skipping routine maintenance. In Europe, cars usually need a service once a year or after a certain number of kilometers, depending on what the manual says. But many drivers put it off, and when you skip those service dates, small problems can turn into big, expensive ones. Let's say you delay an oil change. That oil gets dirty over time. It loses the ability to protect your engine. It turns into sludge. That sludge can clog things up and cause serious engine wear. If it gets really bad, your engine might overheat or even misfire. Replacing oil and filters on time is cheap. Fixing a ruined engine is not. The same goes for air filters, fuel filters, brake fluid, and coolant. If you don't change them, your car's performance drops. It starts using more fuel, the brakes get spongy, the cooling system can overheat. So even if your car feels fine now, ignoring these things adds up. The service indicator in your car isn't just a suggestion. If it says it's time for a service, do it. In the UK and many European countries, your car must pass an annual roadworthiness check, like the MOT. Sometimes your car passes, but the report lists advisories. These are warnings about things that aren't bad yet, but will get worse. A lot of drivers ignore them. That's a big mistake. An advisory for worn tires or low brake pads means those parts are nearly finished. If you wait too long, you might fail your next MOT, or worse, have an accident. Even a note about a slight suspension play or tiny fluid leak should be taken seriously. Fixing these early is often cheap. Waiting until they fail can cost you hundreds. And it's not just about safety. A well-maintained car holds its value and breaks down less. Another thing many people don't think about is their battery. If you use a car for short trips like popping to the shop or driving through town, the battery does not get fully charged. Every time you start the engine, it uses a big burst of power, sometimes 150 to 350 amps. If the drive is short, the battery doesn't have time to recharge. Do that over and over, and it slowly drains. Add cold weather, lights, heated seats, and other electrical systems, and your battery is under even more pressure. In modern cars with start-stop systems, a weak battery can even shut that feature off. When a battery stays below 12.4 volts for too long, it starts to build up lead sulfate crystals. That's called sulfation. It makes the battery lose its capacity, so instead of lasting 5 years, it might die in 2. To stop this, take your car on a longer drive once a week. A 30-minute motorway run is usually enough. Try not to leave lights, radio, or phone chargers running when the engine is off. If you have more than one car, rotate them. Let each one get regular use. If you barely drive at all, you might want to get a trickle charger. These devices keep your battery topped up safely, especially for the more expensive AGM or EFB batteries used in stop-start cars. Idling is another bad habit. A lot of people let the car run while waiting in the parking lot or during long stops. It feels harmless, but it's not. At idle, the engine doesn't burn fuel efficiently. That leads to carbon buildup. The soot can dirty your spark plugs, valves, and combustion chamber. In some cases, unburnt fuel can even mix with the oil. That lowers oil quality and adds more wear to the engine. The exhaust system also suffers. The engine stays cool while idling, so water vapor in the exhaust doesn't burn off, and that leads to corrosion over time. For diesel cars, idling is even worse. They have DPFs, or diesel particulate filters, that catch soot, but these filters need to get hot to clean themselves out. That only happens during long, steady drives. Short city runs and idle time don't get the exhaust hot enough, so the filter clogs up. Then the warning lights come on. If the DPF gets too blocked, it won't clean itself anymore. You'll need to get it cleaned or replaced. That can cost a fortune. To avoid this, if you mostly drive in the city, take your diesel car on the motorway sometimes to let it clean itself out. Idling also wastes fuel. When you're not moving, you're getting 0 kilometers per liter. 10 minutes of idle a day can burn up to 0.1 to 0.2 liters. Over a year, that adds up. With high petrol prices in Europe, that's money down the drain. Many cities now fine drivers for idling too long because of pollution. And honestly, modern engines don't need to warm up by idling. Just start the car and drive gently. If you're waiting more than a minute, like at a level crossing or in a car park, switch off the engine and start it again when you're ready to go. Most drivers think parking is the easiest part of driving, but a few small mistakes, repeated every day, can cost you thousands in repairs. Or worse, send your car rolling down the street. It sounds dramatic, but it's true. Mechanics across Europe see it all the time, and it often starts with something as simple as the way you use your handbrake, or don't. Let's start with the habit many drivers have: parking in gear or in park without using the handbrake. It feels safe, especially on flat ground or gentle slopes, but that false sense of security puts real stress on your car's transmission. In an automatic, the entire weight of your car rests on a tiny piece of metal called the parking pawl. If someone bumps your car while it's parked, that small part can snap, and repairing it is not cheap. In a manual car, the engine's compression might hold the car in place, but all it takes is a small jolt, a hard slam of a nearby door or someone leaning on the car, and it can roll. That roll can mean damage, or worse, a crash. Then there's the handbrake itself. If you rarely use it, it starts to rust. The cable inside can seize up. One day you might actually need it, and it won't work. MOT testers often fail cars just because the handbrake is rusted solid from lack of use. It's not just about safety, it's a maintenance issue too. A stuck handbrake cable isn't just annoying, it can cost you several €100 to fix it. So what's the right way? It's simple. In a manual, press the brake pedal, put the car into first or reverse, then pull the handbrake. In an automatic, press the brake pedal, shift into park, then apply the handbrake. This spreads the load between the systems. It's double protection. And don't yank the handbrake with all your strength. Just enough clicks to hold the car still. Usually 3 to 5 is plenty. Now here's something most people ignore completely, especially in cities with hills. When you park on a slope and don't turn your wheels the right way, you're trusting everything to the handbrake alone. What if it fails? One simple habit can save your car. Angle your wheels. If you're facing uphill with a curb, turn your front wheels away from the curb. That way, if the car starts to roll, the backside of the front tire hits the curb and stops it. If you're facing downhill, do the opposite. Turn the wheels towards the curb. If the car rolls, the front side of the tire jams against the pavement. It costs you nothing. It takes 2 seconds, yet it can stop your car from rolling into traffic, another vehicle, or worse. It's especially useful on steep European streets, where even a slight slip can turn serious. When parking for long periods, especially in winter, you can go one step further. If it's icy and you're afraid the handbrake might freeze, leave the car in gear and use wheel chocks. That's what experienced drivers in snowy alpine regions do. A simple block behind the tire can do what rusted brakes won't.